Hello, and greetings from Serbia. I had a lot of people ask me how to modify Serbian M57 or M70A Tokarev rubber grip, how to modify it to fit a Russian TT33 Serbian Tokarev, the M57, or the 9mm variant of the Serbian Tokarev, which is called the M70A. Has a longer grip than the original Tokarev. So even though every other aspect of the gun is the same, the grip is made longer to fit one more round. So it fits 9 rounds in the magazine, the Serbian, and the Russian, Romanian, Chinese, and all the other Pakistani, Egyptian, whichever other countries made the Tokarev, they just made the direct copy of the Russian. So it has a shorter handle which holds 8 rounds. Now, I don't see any other company around that makes grips for the Russian one. I'm talking about rubber grips. There's plenty of people that make, the factory polymer grips or the wooden aftermarket grips and things like this. But if you really want something that sits in your hand like a molded glove, you really want the rubber grips. Nothing else compares to them. So today I will be showing you how to fit this Serbian Tokarev grip onto your Russian model pistol. Okay, now before I get into the details of fitting it, I would like to start by showing you guys the different types of grips there are. Now, there are two grips here, and as you can see they pretty much look exactly the same. There's some minor differences. The only differences on these two grips are, can you see this one has the, is it called a dovetail, a beaver tail? I don't know what it's called, you'll have to excuse me. It's got this thing here, and this one, it's got it cut. And the other difference is the grip is the same length, but on the front of this one here, it has a little cutout because the gun that this is for is slightly shorter than the M57. The gun that this is for is called the M88, and it's also a variant of the Russian Tokarev. Its length is sort of in between the Russian and the Serbian, so this grip sort of fits onto the Russian one, maybe a little bit easier than this one, but you still have to do the same modifying. So if you actually ask me which one I would do, if I got a chance to do it, if I had a Russian Tokarev, for example, and I got to pick from these two, I would definitely go with the grip from the M57 over the grip of the M88, simply because everything is pretty much the same, except I like this dove or beaver tail, whatever it's called. I really like it, and the M88 doesn't have that rounded part of the pistol at the back like a Tokarev does. It's sort of a little bit more modern and cut, and that's why this grip has that cut out. So the modification is the same, but I will be showing you how to fit this grip. Now, before I start, there's one more grip that I would like to talk about, and that's this grip. This is also a grip for the M57 or the 9mm M70A Serbian Tokarev. The only difference between this one and this one is that this one is a little bit more chunkier. This one has the word combat written on it. It's sort of specific, and the rubber, as you can see, is a little bit chunkier, and it also has these finger grooves. So as you can see, the rubber is chunkier. Now that is not the only difference. This grip I don't recommend for modifying for your Russian model, because the inside of the grip differs to this one. So the inside, instead of the grip, I don't know if you can see this, I don't have a screen in front of me, so I get to see the video when I look at it. This one has a pad at the bottom and at the top. It doesn't have a pad running from the bottom all the way down to the top. So what happens is this one I don't recommend for modifying for your Russian, because once you cut the pad on the bottom, it might shake around a little bit at the bottom because it doesn't have a sufficient surface area to drop into the Russian handle. So I won't be talking about this one, and I also recommend you don't modify this one for your Russian. Okay, now as we just talked about, the handle has a rubber pad that runs down the bottom, from the bottom to the top, and that actually falls into the two cutouts on the metal handle of the Russian Tokarev, and that's what holds the handle in place. It holds the handle in place very well. I have personally shot many rounds through a Serbian Tokarev with this handle on. You don't have to worry about it falling off, slipping out of your hand or anything like that. Now, the only differences between the Russian and the Serbian one is pretty much a centimeter length from the bottom of the handle. So in short, you have to cut the bottom by a centimeter, but you want it to look nice, so you don't just hack at it with a knife or something like that. I'll tell you a nice way to do it. First thing that you need to do is the pads that are running through the bottom, they are a centimeter longer. They can't drop into the Russian handle because they are longer. So what you do is you get a scalpel such as this that doesn't have any raised areas on it. It's just flat all the way through, and you lean it on one side in the bottom of the handle, and you slice approximately the bottom centimeter of that pad off on the left side and on the right side. And then you hold it with a finger or with some kind of instrument like a screwdriver, and you cut them off. So what you've actually done is you've made the flat surface just a centimeter longer inside the handle. You have cut down the raised parts inside the handle by a centimeter on both ends. Once you have done this, you can actually place the handle onto your Tokarev. What you do is you grab just a little drop or two of oil, you put it inside just for easier fitting, and you place the handle onto your Russian model. Now that you have cut down the sides inside, the parts inside which are raised, now the handle can nicely sit onto your Russian gun. And once you've got it sitting on the gun, the only thing left to do is cut the actual handle down by approximately a centimeter until you get to the bottom of your Russian pistol base. Now, I don't recommend cutting it with a scalpel or a knife. You can never have a nice straight cut like that. Never ever can you have it. So what I recommend is you're holding the pistol, the grip is nice and rigid on the pistol, and you have a horizontal sanding, what's it called? A belt sander. And imagine this is the horizontal belt sander. The belt is going like this. I would hold the pistol in the grip, and I would just place it down evenly and gently until I get the bottom of the rubber approximately 1 millimeter from the bottom of my pistol. Now be careful you don't sand the bottom of your pistol, of course. You have to be a little bit coordinated and a little bit of a handyman to do this, I suppose. So I am talking to people that I assume at least have a little workshop, have dealt with a belt sander and a scalpel before in their lives. If you're shooting a gun, you shouldn't have any problem handling a belt sander and doing this modification. So if you're sane enough to handle a pistol, this is a walk in the park. And that's all you do, you sand it down. Now, if you're one of these picky people and you want to keep your pistol nice and shiny and you're really paranoid about sanding the bottom of it, put a piece of wood inside your rubber grip so the grip is nice and rigid. Don't put it on your gun, and do the same thing. Place it down onto the sanding belt and sand it down, and keep fitting it back onto your gun until you get the bottom of it where you want it. And that's pretty much it. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to message me or ask me in the comments. It's probably easier. I am not some kind of YouTuber or anything like this. I only did this because people have asked me, and sometimes when I write to them what to do, they have a little bit of trouble understanding. I don't know if it's my European accent or I'm not getting the message across, so I thought I would do a video. I certainly hope I have helped some of you out, and that's pretty much it. Take care, and all the best.